You've tuned in to the BAM Pod, brought to you by Black Bear Diner, Chicken Ranch Casino Resort, Mercury Marine, Vexus Boats, StoreQuest Storage Solutions, Bass Boat Technologies, and Tackle Warehouse. Now, kick back and enjoy the next great episode of the BAM Pod.
Tackle Warehouse has everything you need to get out and catch more bass. Rods for every application or technique. Over 1,000 reels to choose from. Monofilament, braid, and fluorocarbon lines. A massive selection of baits from the smallest to the largest. Exclusive baits and colors only available at Tackle Warehouse. Everything you need to build or customize your favorite lures. And of course, countless options to store it all. Tackle Warehouse. Click, save, fish.
All right, welcome in, everybody, to the BAM Pod. I'm your host, Big Ed, and on the line tonight, we've gone all the way to Kalispell, Montana, to Mr. Jason Crone. Jason, welcome into the show, man.
Hey, man. Hey, everybody. It's nice to be on. I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. You know, it's an interesting thing. I think the biggest part that's always gotten everybody coming out to the West, Bassmasters said it, FLW said it, the West is huge, man. We're going to Lake Havasu in just a few weeks. We're going to be down in the desert. We're going to be fishing for fish that are in clear, deep impoundments. These things are great. The water's awesome. I've been down there a few times. The fishing is normally awesome. I've never been to Havasu, but I've heard great things. Just last week, 2 weeks ago, when we did an interview, you know, we were talking to a gentleman that lives there, and, you know, and he's like, yeah, it's going to be different. You're coming from an area, and you're coming from a very different area than Arizona. I don't know what the weather is right now in Kalispell, but I'm guessing it's not quite as warm as the 90-degree weather they're getting down there.
No, it's a little different.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about what it's going to be like, you know, to have that kind of change, to fish that way.
Like say it's oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
It glitched. My phone glitched there for a minute.
That's all right. I got edit buttons. So let's talk a little bit about what it's like to, you know, go from the weather you're having right now down to there, and what you're going to be kind of, you know, looking to do once you get there.
Okay, yeah. I mean, the weather up here, it's actually, you know, like most of the U.S., abnormally warm. You know, even right now, today is the first day, but it hit 60 today in Montana. But that's not typical. But I can't go fishing right now because we still have ice, you know, over our lakes, and except for the, you know, our big flatted lake or our big lakes around here, but everything else is still froze up, you know. So yeah, looking forward to, you know, being a redhead, going back down to Havasu and, you know, cover myself completely, bathing in the sunscreen. So we'll be the first start. So other than that, it's you know, I'm looking forward to it, you know. 17-hour pull to get down there, you know. So, but as far as Havasu goes, it's a lake that I've been to actually quite often in the past. This will be my 8th, I would say, event on the water. So,
you know, when we talk about how big and how vast this side of the country is, you know, and we got, you know, you're going to be going 17 hours and you'll be down there.
Yeah.
When we talk about the Super 60, we talk about what's going on. Is there a spot in Montana that Mark could go? Is there a place that you guys like to fish up there that's like, hey, you know what? We need to bring a tournament to X.
Oh yeah. I mean, Knox and Reservoir, no doubt everybody would enjoy that. You know, it's it is a awesome fishery. It's got a lot of grass, a lot of weeds. You know, it's kind of a good learning lake for all kinds of different types of techniques. So Knoxon would be one, and I believe way back in the day they had a divisional on Bass Nation there, a big event, but the lodging there is very, very bad, you know, to an extent. So it'd be tough that way, but Knoxon would be a good one. And about the only one, you know, unless you went to eastern Montana to Fort Peck, which is way out of the way of everybody. So
one of the reasons I asked that question is, I don't think people really, when they think of Montana, they think of where you live up there. There's not a lot of bass fishing that I hear about that you hear about on a general basis from the rest of the country, right? But Mark's also went with the Columbia River, which I'd never been to the Columbia River, and I didn't know it was that good of a fishery. We've gone to Moses Lake. We're going to Moses Lake this year. There are so many places that are showcased by the Super 60. There's so many places that are showcased by Pro-Ams that we go to that I always wondered. It's like, is there fishing up there like that? And the other question is how did you really get into fishing in Montana? First of all, did you grow up in Montana? Is that where you're from in general, or did you move there?
No, yeah, born and raised. I haven't moved out of the town I grew up in. So yeah, right here.
Wow, that's
Uh-huh.
awesome.
Yeah.
I've been to Kalispell. I love Flathead Lake. I think that thing is enormous,
Yeah.
ridiculous. I know that the what's that fish that's in it?
Lake trout.
It's the lake trout that they always try to get rid of them, right? Because they're
Yeah.
they're not a native species in Kokanee are or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, they've managed to really ruin that lake in a way. I mean, they added some shrimp to it, wiped out the salmon, and very, very, very bad mismanagement still to this day.
Mm.
It's kind of a bummer, but
But I've
you
actually
know,
caught bass out of it.
yeah, yeah, it's
There's
actually
smallmouth in it.
yeah, it's turning into smallmouth fishery big time,
Hmm.
and they're finally accepting them, because up here in Montana, trout, 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 but
Right.
I get that a lot. I mean, from my co-anglers when I travel all over, and everybody is like, "Is there even bass in Montana?" And like, no, yeah, every single body of water, almost in the Flathead Valley or in the area that I
Yeah.
live, northwest Montana, they have bass, and they're, over the years with the technology we have, there's the bucket biologists that have, kind of thrown them in spots where they shouldn't have. But no, I get that all the time, like, and but I did not grow up bass fishing at all. I
Okay.
grew up on Flathead Lake, grew up on Flathead River. But I've always fished, that I mean,
Right.
grew up doing it. And as soon as I had a driver's license, I had a 16-foot boat that I'd throw in the back of my truck with a 9.9, and I would drag that thing, across land with the motor over my shoulder sometimes. And I was always fishing, but I was definitely a late bloomer to tournament fishing. I'm 45 now, and I didn't enter a first tournament until I was, I think 29 years old. So
Wow.
about 15,
Okay.
15 years of it. So
And that, I mean, that's I don't know. I want to say everybody has, but I've seen it. A river runs through it. That's what I always think of when I see you up there.
mhm.
Fishing the big waters, catching those big trout, that sort of thing. That's what I think of in Montana. I know that I know there's bass there. I've caught them. I've been
Right,
there. I've
right.
done it. But it's one of those things. It's not what you think. Now you're going to go to Havasu. We're going to go down to the desert. You've said you've fished down there quite a bit. We've talked a little bit about, coming from up there. What was your biggest drive to just decide that, what, bass is where I want to be. This is what the game I want to play, and this is how I want to get into this thing because it is a big difference, going from trout fishing, fly fishing up there is king 100%. Those people love it up there. I know that's you're not throwing spinners and things like that to catch those
Yeah.
fish. You're fly fishing up there. That's what they do. And then you find this bass fishing thing. And now we have on the West Coast, which makes it a little easier for you. We have the Super 60. We've got Mark Lassane coming out here, bringing the BAM Trail, and there's an opportunity. Because going
Right.
into this, I'm guessing that your opportunity wasn't fishing, a lot out here. There wasn't much out here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of funny being in Montana, but I grew up on, like Flathead Lake, and, a lot of it was jigging for lake trout and everything. And I honestly can't even throw a fly rod right now. You wouldn't believe it. But I never got into that. I was always, a treble hook type deal for me. But, I guess as far as how I got into it, it was just doing like one of my first events. I mean, me and my buddies were always out on Flathead, and then he ended up buying Jay Stickney, who got me into it. He bought a bass boat, and I was like, "What? What are you doing?" Just kind of out of the blue. and we did a little local tournament. Didn't really have any idea about it, and the first time I did it, I was like, I knew I was locked in, because, and what hit me was, um, I've broke a lot of bones, from playing rugby and football and wrestling and racing, and riding dirt bikes and snowmobiles. And I just realized, like, this sport I can do until I'm 80, and and get adrenaline rush by catching that fish and not be hurt. And just I just and plus with the passion of fishing already in my background, that I just knew I was locked in. And like say in 15 years I've excelled quickly, I feel, to an extent, and just because of the passion of catching fish. So I've had those questions before with buddies where, like, and within 3 years, my third year of doing it, I won the Montana State Championship for bass, and because I just got consumed by it. So that's kind of the backstory on that. So
Well, that's awesome. I mean, the opportunity now to be on the West Coast, being able to make a living. I mean, I don't. I always I say a living, but you have to be pretty consistent to do it to make a living at it. I mean, if you
yeah,
win one of these things, it's $50,000. Don't get me wrong, and but that's not. That's I guess for some people that's a living.
yeah,
I try to make it sound like it's so much more, but $50,000 to me, it just doesn't seem like that would be a living. But I'll tell you what, it's a heck of a win. I mean,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna walk out of with a check that's like, you know what, I don't have to work as hard this year.
yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, no doubt. Yeah, BAM is. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I'm so content and happy with this setup. Like say, my passion is, it wouldn't be to make a living off of fishing. Um, to an extent, it
Right.
doesn't sound bad at all. But I mean, the fact that I can travel around, and but yeah, it's just huge bonus money. I mean,
Yeah.
massive. Last year was awesome, but yeah, to make a living is would be really hard. You'd have to be staying in the back of your truck a little bit, but BAM is, I mean, for being at Moses Lake,
Right.
I mean, for me, it's 6 hours away, and people think that's a long drive, but that's nothing, as far as all the events. I mean, I drove to Pickwick multiple times in Louisiana and Tennessee and stuff in the past. So,
Right.
I mean, that's Moses Lake, potholes, the Columbia River, Boardman, all that is, I mean, that's a 6 hour drive, 5 hour
Right.
drives. And I'm couldn't be happier to not go that far, so.
Right. I mean, that's got to be a big portion of, being it. I don't want to say you're at home, but I mean, that's pretty much in our, this is what we talk about when, they talk about how big, the West is.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to,
yeah,
because if you live in, if my best friend lives in Tennessee, and it's one of those things where, he's on Pickwick, he's on, Gunnersville, he's on this in like an hour,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so it's not
right.
that big of a 2 hour drive for him is like, oh no,
Oh yeah,
that's like not a, he's down in Florida, on some of these
right.
big Okeechobees and all that, and an hour and a half, 3 hours or whatever. It's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
We drive 17 hours to fish. I
yeah.
mean, that's what you're looking at now. Let's talk a little bit about what you're expecting when you get down there. I mean, you're going, like I said, you're going from water up there where you don't get to fish. You're gonna, I mean, I don't know. Do you do flag fishing? I know my wife does flag fishing. Do you do flag fishing?
No, no, I don't do any flag fishing. I quit drinking beer about 15 years ago, and that was 15, 16 years ago. So I don't go on the ice at all. So
Yeah.
I just don't. We got that, bass anglers got that ADD spirit, and you can't get me on a bucket. No way.
I've done it a couple times. It's kind of fun. There's no real skill
Yeah,
to it, but it's kind of fun.
yeah,
But it's
yeah. That's all right. But yeah,
but like you said, I
well,
think it's more about the barbecuing and drinking than actually fishing. So I
yeah,
think that's the
yeah,
deal. But yeah, it's just when I think of big waters like that. But now we're going to be head down. It's the desert. You're out there. There's no water you can fish up there. You're not looking for. What are you thinking, man, when you head down that far? 17-hour drive. What are you doing to study to try to learn and how to fish down there? Big things are happening in Boardman, Oregon. At the heart of it all, the Boardman Chamber of Commerce and Boardman Community Development Association, working together to create opportunities, support local businesses, and build a thriving community. From new business growth to family-friendly events, workforce development, and expanding local resources, Boardman is making it happen. Looking to live, work, or invest in a growing community? Boardman is ready for you. Boardman's Community Development Association, strengthening Boardman's economy, one project at a time.
Yeah, thankfully I have been to Havasu quite a bit, and I actually looked at Google Earth the first time again today to look at it. But so I have a relatively good idea of where it's going to be. Before with BAM, I was fishing some Toyota series, and so I was there once a year, and even in Bass Nation a couple times too. But I haven't been there exactly this time, but I was there. I watched them move up March 12th before, like massively in an event. So I have an idea, thankfully, but normally, you know, I guess I would watch or listen to, either podcasts to get a vibe for it or YouTube, but as it's gotten further, and even with last year, I kind of just don't listen to too much and other than Google Earth, I'll just do it a couple days
Yeah,
beforehand, and I think it's better for me to go down there, relax, and I let because of this event's so cool with the Super
right.
60. You can't see the water, you can't do anything. It's why get pen up and just go out there, and there's just let it come to you and learn it, which is, I really enjoy that. So
Yeah, I was just gonna say you're definitely on the right tour for that because with
yeah,
all the cutoffs, nothing to you can't do anything really,
yeah,
um, which does make it a fair tournament. I mean, no
yeah.
pre-fish, no nothing, no seeing it.
Mhm.
I think a lot of guys have liked that format, the ability to. Are you a big fan of the go? I mean, does that? I guess I should say this. Does it play into your hands now when you have that kind of tournament where you can't go pre-fish, you can't see the water, and then you go out, but we do give you that whole. You can make it by keepers, or you can make it by weight.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, does that really play in when you're like, hey, I got to drive 17 hours down to a body of water? It's like you can go out there, and I know that finding big fish on a body of water is not always the easiest thing in the world. Finding good quality fish is not always the easiest thing in the world. But sometimes finding just a whole bunch of fish can be easy. You can stumble into that. Is
yeah.
that something you put into your repertoire?
Oh, for sure. Last year it happened twice.
Okay.
That was a cool part about it is, say Pedro, when we were there, we actually did a pro-am a month prior. So yeah, I had a general idea of that, but for the Super 60, the water levels were different. And, by at 11 o'clock, which is, great, what you can do, or what I did do is said, this is not working. And I just said, uh, we're we're going practicing, and I keyed in on a certain spot, and all of a sudden I fell on him. But I sat down, looked at my screens, gave myself 5 minutes to reorganize, like what can my next path be for
Mm.
the next 2 hours, or what my contours, or what points of what I'm doing now, what I can change. And I fell onto him and made the top 10, and which was awesome. And the same thing in the Columbia River. Day two, I was mid pack, and I just said, I'll stay mid pack if I do not do something. So I just sat down, changed it up, and both of them were just, I made it through keeper count. It was, I fell on them
Okay.
and caught the heck out of them, and I never had the weight. But I also I think I made a top 10 with weight, and two of them with keeper count. So, but
Okay.
yeah, that's makes it a ton of fun, because yeah, you get in it two different ways. So
Yeah, it's one of those ones that when I've talked to a lot of people, it's like it's a how do you say it? it's a tough one for some guys. Like they can't get their ego over it.
Sure,
It's like,
sure.
oh no, I'm here for five big fish, and it's like, but wait, I'm not catching five big fish. I'm catching
Yeah.
370, pound and a
Yeah.
half, pound and a
No.
quarter, 8 ouncers. It's like, yeah, I'm catching a bunch of fish, but it is. I think the first year it was really tough for guys to really kind of get over that ego thing. But I've slowly but surely over the past few, couple of years now, it's like guys are really going, yep, I've got two ways to get there, and I'm going to use one of them to get there because that's a big
Yeah.
check sit at the end. You got to make it, man. You got to make that top
Yeah.
10.
Yeah. It does not matter. I mean, it's if you're there on the final day, I mean,
Yeah,
all the rest of the guys aren't except for
right.
the other, So who yeah, that throw that pride out. And I learned that a long time ago, I do not care what rod I have in my hand. Everyone wants a power rod in your hand, to
Yep.
hammer them and hit them, but put that out the window. Catch the fish and cash a check, especially when you got to drive 1,000 miles home, or
Yep.
and all that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that drives a little easier when you got a little check sitting in the back going,
oh
I
yeah,
can cash this thing.
yeah, yeah. When you're filling your truck and up multiple times, yeah,
Yeah.
it's no doubt. So,
When you're heading down there, you kind of said something right there. Everybody wants to have this. What kind of an angler are you? Are you a power fisherman guy? Are you a finesse guy? Are you, just middle of the road? Are you just what is your love to go out there and do?
I would, well, my love is, I mean, of course, to hit them hard, but honestly, I mean, I'm more of a finesse guy.
Okay.
Um, I'm I'm mostly a lot of my thought is the unique presentation. I really think about that. There's so much fishing pressure, especially say on Havasu and stuff. I mean, it's hit hard. I mean,
Yeah.
the snowbirds are down there. I fish there a lot, and so everywhere, and they keep creating new baits that are all unique. And the Quakey is now the new phenom, and all that. But if you can take them baits and utilize them to have a rate of fall, hit something, a unique technique, that's in my mind, it's always like you get them the ears on that bass to perk up by doing something different, even though if the bait's the same, but it just comes at them in a different way. And so I really, sit down and think about that. But a lot of times with that, it's a lighter line,
Okay.
finesse, or dragging some sort of, bait type presentation is, I guess, how I look at it. Uniqueness is what I'm always going for, something that they haven't quite seen enough. So,
Okay, that's a great way to approach bass fishing. I think in general, and I think that's always the
mhm.
way that guys get that edge. I mean, it's a tough one. We talked to Carver 2 weeks ago, and he's like, these guys are going to be in for a surprise. The way this thing's going to fish, there's a lot of pressure on the water, like you said. I mean, this is also spring breaks down there, which is like I don't know, like 2 months long, so the fish are probably used to it
Oh,
anyways. But
yeah,
there's going to be a lot of boats out there. There's going to be a lot of people on the water. There's going to be a lot of action. It's distractions are there for sure.
yeah.
Fishing is going to be a heavy pressure on this body of water. Like I said, I've never been there. The things he talked about, I've never even heard of, but they have them there. There's the whole mussel problem thing down there. Is they're in the that's in the water pretty heavily. Is that something that's not something you deal with up there at all, right? I mean, you don't have the mussel problems up in Montana or anything like that.
No, no, we don't have muscle problems. We just have pike problems. Those take all your baits. But yeah, Havasu's unique with all the structure that they have and everything. The man-made, which made that
Yeah.
place. I mean, no matter what, it's going to fish really good. I mean, last time I was there was post spring break, and it was really fun. So it's mostly what we're going to be dealing with. I think is because it's spring break. Is you're going to get really bombarded with a mass amount of boats by noon on.
Yeah.
11 o'clock. You better, my eyes is like, I better fish the more traffic areas first, because you're not going to get back on them potentially, afternoon. There's just going to be too much chaos, I think. I
Right.
mean, I've been down there when it wasn't spring break, and when that sun's out, I mean, there's a lot of money down there, a lot of big boats, and So it'll that strategy and plus they're going to be they're going to be on beds,
Right.
no doubt. Smallmouth will be, largemouth will be, and there's going to be post spawn smallmouth for sure.
Hmm.
I would say, usually they'll, and but they're, I even seen them on beds. I was really surprised in May last time when I was fishing it. So,
Okay.
so it's gonna be, yeah. I mean, I have great ideas, but I don't know if they'll pan out. But I do have a game plan.
Good.
Fortunately, because I have traveled my butt off down to that lake. I've fished that lake more in Arizona than anywhere else in a lot of areas actually. So
Okay.
uh, hopefully I can keep up with old Roy Hawk, the main man down there. So
Yeah, it's definitely playing. Cameron Carver was on a couple weeks ago. He's talking about it. Roy Hawk down there. Even Marty
mhm.
Lawrence. Marty Lawrence lives right in that backyard too. I mean,
Sure.
there are some. And that's one of the things I think with the Super 62 that you have to look at is they're so. You know, you talk about your backyard basically up there being the Columbia River and Moses and potholes and all that being.
Hmm.
It's in your backyard to an extent. Not
Yeah.
give you the 5 or 6 hours they're in literally in their backyard. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
those guys are down there, but it is one of those things that they have a little bit of an edge. But I look at it and I go, I don't think you ever get an edge on any of these bodies of water when you're fishing against the talent that you're fishing against. I
Yeah.
mean, there are the Bryant Smiths, the Cameron Carvers, the Roy Hawks, the Ishman Rose, the Greg Gutierrez. I mean, you name it. This thing is packed
Yeah.
going and fishing against these guys on those bodies of water. I'm always amazed. I mean, Carl Okerman went down and won the last one down there in the desert.
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, I think it's just that the caliber of angler is so good that you guys have to step it up. Is that really how you kind of look at it? Is these guys are really good and you can't miss them? You can't miss a beat.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, how the Super 60 is set up that yeah, you can't miss a beat, but you have a chance. I mean, because they're no one's allowed on it, so you don't.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure Roy would say the same thing. Like, he has to figure it out. I mean, it's no guarantee of what they're doing until you spend the first 2 to 3 hours. Sun's got to get up, and can you visually see him or whatnot. So but yeah, I mean, Bryant, he is, I've fished against him and stayed with him, there on Clear Lake for the championship, and it's it's no doubt. I mean, he is an angler that is very impressive. I mean, he's practicing right now for the classic. So all those guys, Ish, and yeah, it's for me, for being from Montana, I mean, the coolest thing that I get to fish against them. So
Hmm.
it's awesome. I didn't think I would get to this level of fishing. I've always been having fun with it, and but yeah, no, they don't. I have to have a perfectly perfect day, and if they have a mediocre day, we're going to be close together. It feels like, So, but there's a chance there. I mean, I was close a few times, and Carl Okerman. I mean, look at him. I fished against him a lot up in Montana. He's
Yeah.
from Idaho, right there, by Pend Oreille, and he would come fish on Knoxon Reservoir all the time, and became a good buddy. And him and Jake Boomer, he's right there
Yep.
on Coeur d'Alene Lake and stuff. And Okerman winning that in Mojave, just, I mean, just to trash him made it feel like it's totally easy to win now. Okerman, you hear that?
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a great deal. Now you said something in there, it's clear, can you see the fish? It is a body of water that's really known for being like the last time we were there, we were on Mojave, we weren't on Havasu, we were on
Hmm.
Mojave. But that water was I always I say this before because one of the guys came up and he's like, oh, you know what? And he's advertising for his products. He's like, oh, I got my Costas on. With my Costas, I could really see. And I'm like, I had my eyes without anything on them, and I could see 30
Yeah.
feet.
Oh,
It's so different. Is the water where you're fishing the way you're fishing? Is this different, or do you? Because when I was on, like the big lake out there, um,
flathead.
in
Hmm.
Flathead, yeah, it was super clear. I mean, it
Yep.
was clear water. Do you have clear water that you're normally fishing, or is it more stain and that sort of thing? Are you used to water this clear?
No, I mean, Mojave, I've never seen really water like that other than Flathead Lake is about
Yeah.
when it's calm, you can
Yeah.
see far down, but in like Havasu doesn't have that clarity as much, even though it's the same, flow of water. But no, typically even up here, it's not like this, it's not that clear, Knox or a lot of them places, there's times where it is, but we have a lot of spring runoff. So a lot of springtime is you're fishing mud and all that stuff. And, cleans up by, late May, early June, it'll clear up and, we're late spawn and all that stuff. But
Hmm.
I can fish, the clear water doesn't bother me at all. I mean, when I went to Mojave, I was like, holy smokes, I had never seen that. But no, it, we don't, I don't fish a lot of clean water like that, so
Okay.
some stains, some not, but, Coeur d'Alene and Ponderay, they're all really clear too, but, they, have their tannic in them, I guess. So,
Does it make you switch up and change the baits you're going to throw? Is it something that, you know what, I've got to be, because when you're talking about water that clear, the fish can really see in that as well. Is it
yeah.
something like, you know what, I would normally throw, my finesse bait, a drop shot or whatever it is that you're throwing.
Mhm.
It's like, I would normally throw this, but I'm going to change it up for the clear water. I got to change up colors. I got to change. Is that part of your game and when you go down there, or is it something like, they'll eat it?
Hey folks, Randall and I want to talk to you real quick about choosing the right electronics mount for your bass boat.
Mark and I have been partnered with Bass Boat Technologies from the very beginning, and we know the quality and effort that BAM Foster has put into this company.
Custom, that's the one thing that I think about whenever I think of Bass Boat Technologies. Van Foster has spent years, not hours, years perfecting these mounts. He works with just about every bass boat company out there, most models for every bass boat company out there. He has spent the time working on these bass boats. So what you get is a custom fitted mount, not some mass produced universal mount for every bass boat out there. Van makes them custom fit for your bass boat.
Bass Boat Technologies also makes a lot of other custom parts. Seat pedestal plugs, tool holders, steering wheel spacers, and battery trays are all made with the same attention to detail that Bass Boat Technologies is known for.
Bass Boat Technologies is a vital part of our livelihood, and it's very important to your overall boating experience also.
Absolutely, and that's why we choose Bass Boat Technologies. Check them out at bassboattech.com. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah. I mean, well, your line is a lot of it,
Yeah.
of course, you lighten that up quite a bit, but, yeah, it seems to, I have the tendency to go to smaller baits, more finesse baits, but again, Havasu, is unique to where, you hit the cages with big baits and that's
Okay.
how you get reactions, with either a crankbait or a type of bigger, larger swim bait, or, I mean, those cages will take more baits from you than they give back. They're unique. You got to find the ones that they're living in, and, I haven't totally dialed that in. I've dialed in a few things there, which is awesome, but, they, it's just all about the Havasu is very unique for me, with the impact of, how you can hit them structures, and they will absolutely pull the rod out of your hand if you give it the right presentation,
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
but again, I don't have that. I've had days where it was unreal, and then other days where I can't get that back. So I don't even know if I'll be playing that route down there. So,
Yeah,
uh,
well, when you mentioned swim baits in there, and it's one of those lakes that I know that it's one of the spots that really those things have come and made a name for themselves is throwing big swim baits. When you're talking about finesse and you're talking about that, do big swim baits like that come into your game?
no, I mean, I wish they did. I mean, sometimes they do, but very, very little, because I haven't had the time to play with them. It's
Yeah.
with me, I've ran a business since I was 16 years old, been in charge of like foreman and all the way up now. I've owned a business for years and years, been doing the same thing. So I don't fun fish ever, or it's either I'm on tournaments or I'm back to business, and I haven't been
Mm.
able to go out there and play that big game yet. I do a little bit, but it's not in my arsenal at all. I wish it
Okay.
was. But maybe that's good. I don't need one more thing to throw me off. But yeah, the big baits, I don't have them dialed enough yet. So
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones I feel like it's such a specialty, and I've
mhm.
always I know when I fish tournaments, it's one of those things. It's like they are sitting there, but they're not my go-to either. It's kind of
Yeah.
like it's a tough one when I see like an Alex Neopis and all that stuff, just giving total dedication, throwing that thing, and for 8 hours, and he's now in Shasta he didn't do that, but when he does, it's like wow, that's really impressive that he has that much confidence that those things are going to work because I don't have that confidence
Oh yeah,
myself.
yeah. It takes I mean hundreds of hours
Yeah.
of practice just to get somewhat. And one day maybe I will, but I just for my system is just flat out nope. I mean, do
Right.
your strength, and my strength isn't there, and I can't find the time to learn that yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I was throwing a glide bait last year on the Columbia and weighed in a couple, but it's in a more precise area. It's where you just throw it a couple times. It panned out, but typically, I'm not weighing too much stuff on them. So
With so you talked about this thing could really turn into a bed fishing tournament. Could, might not. You never know.
mhm.
It's one
Yeah.
of those things. It's how it goes. Um, are you a person that's just going to go out and look for those beds, or are you going to try to? Is it something that what I'm not a great bed fisherman, and I'm going to go try to get them pre and post?
Yeah. No, it's funny with me, guys have glasses, sunglasses and everything, and so many guys will say, I seen this, and every time I'm like, I didn't see anything. It just I don't see them as much. I'm not I mean, of course I will, but no, I won't be utilizing that at first at all, especially when in the morning I have my
Right.
general idea what I'm going to do, but um, towards, I have an idea around noon or so, is when I'll, maybe start looking, but I'm gonna try to avoid that.
Okay.
That's not again, another one of my strengths is looking for them. But I did have a good event there before. They all up and I watched them in one day. Friday, and then the next day it was a whole different ball game. So they come up at once, and it was a big. That's when the big swim bait game came on too. All the guys that were throwing them, holy smokes, did they bring him in? I think Patrick Tui he crushed us all, and I mean, there's 10 pounders that I've watched a couple of them get brought in off that lake. So um, but, even the smallmouth are pretty fun there, and I've had that dialed pretty well before, so that'll be my starting is going after those, and potentially, like say, it might even have me already leaning more towards keeper count to an extent,
Okay.
and then you know that's giving me this is my game plan, and then if that's not working, then when you can visually see the sun comes up, then you can go for larger largemouth on beds or whatnot. But
That brings me to a good question on that. When you're doing, it's like, okay, day one, we're there. You decide, you know what, I'm gonna have to go for keeper count. I'm gonna do this.
Mhm.
I think I can make it there. You make cut day. Cut day is brutal, man. It's
Yeah,
it's one of those days. I've always said it's the most feared day for a reason. You just
yeah,
drove 17 hours. If you don't make it to day three,
yeah.
that sucks.
Oh yeah,
You may get a nice check, don't get me wrong, but it's like,
sure.
damn, that sucks. I don't want to go home early, but
Yeah.
you're looking at that. At what point when you go from keeper count, because on Sunday it don't matter. Keeper count's gone. It's
Yeah.
keeper count's gone. You're back to five fish. Do you, when you're going down the lake and you look down and you go, well, there's like a 4 or 5 pounder sitting on a bed right there. Do you pass that fish up and say, you know what, I'm going to leave him? Or do you go, Bryant Smith's going to find that fish too?
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that, break down in your head when you're looking at fish like that and you're seeing that kind of, how do you make that decision? Like, I should stick that fish or
Oh
leave
yeah.
it alone, or I should leave it alone.
That's the hardest question for everybody is like, well, yeah, what do you do? It all depends on your chess mass for that play. Is that do you take it that day or and that's the cool part about the Super 60 is it throws in all them extra curveballs. I mean, I've never I mean, as I've gone up, from fishing other events and everything and formats, it's like I've never had more fun than last year fishing the Super 60 because it's yeah, and I did do very well too, so I was on a uphill, as far as the results go, but which always makes it go, oh yeah, it was a great year, but the strategy and all that, yeah, I mean, it just multiple ways to look at it. And I mean, that's where I enjoy it, or all of us do is that chess match. Do you stick that fish and put it in? And then the next day you're looking at that bed going, oh, okay, well, that's, I ruined it, but
Well, and that's what I kind of look at is, you've got, it's like, okay, I made the cut on Saturday. Now I'm staring at Sunday. Like you said, you drive back over and you go, wow, there was a 5 pounder sitting on that bed right there that
mhm.
I took off.
Yeah, and did it help you? Did you need it the day before? But yeah, I
Right.
mean, it's shoulda, coulda, woulda, but just take it as God's blessing that you seen that one. You just seen that one, So, uh, it's no worries. You're like, well, it was presented to me, so you just
Right.
gotta be thankful for that. Like at the end on their drive back, like, well, at least you got to catch that fish because I've drove back from a championship on Pickwick Lake and I caught one bass for the whole event. We've all been through that,
Oh yeah.
so, and that's where it says 1 day and, 12 hours,
Right.
to get home. So, but that's, like I say, I don't know, earning your character, I guess, you know?
Is that the whole paying your dues thing? It's like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah, yeah.
man,
Pay your dues,
I'm
so.
not looking to, I don't want to pay my dues.
Well, I paid them enough, but yeah, hopefully, if I even come close to last year, I mean, I think I was running in third in points, up all the way until the end. I think I ended up seventh or so,
Yeah,
and so I mean, I'll take that anytime,
absolutely.
for the first year of doing it. So.
Well, and this year, Mark's upped it a little bit more. There's going to be the BAM Classic this year. A
Mhm.
little bit of a different thing, a little bit more stuff. He's dangling a little more stuff out there every
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
You can go on the website, anybody that wants to listen, see what Mark's doing. I mean, the Pro-Am stuff is ridiculous, giving away a boat at every one of them. The Super 60, the $50,000 check, the BAM Classic is now on the line. There's just we got new boats coming out. We got new stuff coming out. It's going to be very awesome. The way this is going. The Super 60 is just a group of guys that is just amazing fishermen. To watch them, to see what they do is absolutely, to see the way you guys do this is great. I couldn't be happier to be up on that stage watching you guys come up there and get it all going. And I try to make it as exciting as I possibly can for you guys, but it's for me it's fun to watch it and be a part of it and see how you guys are doing out there. It's a fun tournament to watch, and I think the Super 60 going to Havasu is going to be absolutely a blast. And it is going to be very interesting to see who decides to do the keeper count, who decides to do the weight, and it's I don't I've I don't see the numbers as much. I got a screen in front of me. It tells me what you guys are doing, and that's about it. That's all I get. But I always wondered how many, what's the ratio, and I'll have to look it up. What's the ratio of like the guys that have decided to make it on weight and guys that have decided to make it on keeper count, how it works out. I know it's 5-5 every time, but it's just, going into it, I've asked a lot of guys when they win. It's like, what did you choose? Because
right,
that's the
right.
toughest question, I think. Um, when you go down there, you're talking about a finesse guy. You're going to be doing that. Is there any one bait that you just look at and this is my confidence, man? This is what I love doing. Whether it's down at Havasu, whether it's anywhere else. I mean, what is your go-to? like Marty Lawrence is a jig guy. He likes doing that thing. Carver was on here talking about he's a spinnerbait guy that loves to just tweak every little aspect of that thing down to the rubber, man. He uses square over round in certain places and the way it flutters and the way it does. And, Marty's like, oh, yeah, I crawled over every single rod. I got to feel them all. What's that one thing that you kind of do that, you just love to do and just like, I'm going to put this rod in my hand and if I need a fish, I'm going to make them eat this.
Hey, Northern California bass anglers. Ready to elevate your fishing game? Ford Fairfield partners with Bass Angler Magazine to offer top-notch trucks tailored for your needs. Our simple pricing ensures a fair deal and exceptional service. We live and breathe bass fishing, participating in local tournaments to understand exactly what you need so you never miss a good bite. Visit Ford Fairfield today and let's hit the water together.
Right. Well, as of lately, the last couple years, that Nico rig really came into my likings a lot, but it seems like it goes on rotation with me, honestly, it's just I'll have the year of the jerkbait. I had that 5 years ago, made the All-American, and it was the year of that. And then then it was a year of the rage bug, Texas rigged, and or using it even power shotting with it. But down there will be it'll be, I mean, I'm gonna look at the Nico, but it all depends. But the Nico it was pretty fire for me last year, to an extent. And of course, small swim baits and forward facing for strolling and stuff. But
Okay.
I leave it open because if as soon as I think, yeah, this is my bait, like, then it'll be the year, and I'm looking forward to the next year of it. So, that's why we have all the stuff all the rods on our deck, but it changes up for me, every couple of years to where that's my new favorite bait, and what I used to use, just is almost non-existent to an extent, so.
I was gonna say, are you a forward-facing sonar guy? I mean, you're not the youngest guys, but you're not the oldest either. I mean, you're in your 40s. It's not that it's not that old. Are you one of those guys that loves that forward-facing sonar thing? Is it kind of in your arsenal, or do you just it's there? I'll use it if I use it. Great.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can't. I mean, look at Ty and all them. I mean, they come out firing out of college in all respect. Just jealousy of what they get to do. But yeah, I mean, I am a forward facing guy. I don't think I'm the traditional as much. I'm mostly a structure forward facing. I'm looking at grass, using it that way. I'm not out in the abyss as much, unless you're on Table Rock or something, but to where there's bait balls, which you don't even have that in Montana. You got perch balls and stuff, but but yeah, no, I don't think you can take your eyes off of it, and I enjoy it. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I think that's great about the Super 60s is there's no drama with it either. I'm so glad there isn't, and I hope there isn't any. It's just like, go fishing. Don't, complaining for me, you're not going to get any. I'm just smiling. I'm there. I'm not working, and then I'm going to go back home. And but no, you have to use it. I mean, absolutely have to. But I haven't got that dialed as much as the other boys, is like, above their head and how they're reacting. I'm definitely getting better at it, but I'm not like, oh, I need to have that, because I'm still doing just fine how I like to fish. A lot of ground contact, and you can, sometimes you're just like, no, I can see your sneaky little back down there moving. So I enjoy it. Like say, you're like, no, I won, I got you.
Yeah.
Their belly was on the ground, but I could see that, that rock was moving. So, I enjoy it.
It's I think the biggest thing with the no drama part of it out here on the West Coast, which is like such a weird thing to think about, the left coast, the left coast not being drama. We did a show with Zach Thompson on that, but it's one of those things that's like, I think it's because nobody's really blown everybody out of the water with it.
Yeah.
it's Ty Manarola's 100%. Don't get me wrong, is a very very good angler.
Mm-hmm.
He's on a little bit of an Aaron Martens thing where he's catching getting that second places a lot. Which
Oh
don't
yeah.
get me wrong, I'm sure there's a bunch of people that want that that will take that second place check.
Oh
But
yeah.
he's been beat a couple times with it. He's a really good at it. Brennan Osborne, I think, is the big name that's been he's been making it up there, but he's pretty good at that too. And then they say Ty Madden, who's a heck of an angler, fishes all over the place, and they're doing well. But I think that's the biggest thing with forward facing for us out here with the Super 60 is that no one's really stepped up and just like been, I've won 4 events in a row with it.
No,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, it's everybody's so good. Everybody has their quality and they're all using it. And I think that's the biggest thing. I don't know if you would agree with that or not. Or
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not a it's yeah, Ty's average was phenomenal, but
Mhm.
it's not, it doesn't bother me one bit as far as competitive for me or anybody else. It doesn't feel like, everyone, it's just amazing to talk to all the guys and, in the way lines and Gutierrez and Nick Wood and, Ish and Boomer and Okerman, and it's just how you're fishing. But yeah, there's and Bryant, of course. I mean, heck, he almost got angler year, and I mean, he couldn't hit one of the Super 60s. I mean, he's so good. But yeah, there's nothing overwhelming. It's just fun
Yeah.
to compete against him, But there's it's just I always say I hope what Mark's doing is real special. Don't vastly change anything, just
Right.
because like something that's really good, is just really good, and it just doesn't always need massive changes. Just you know everyone keep having fun, and I genuinely think I have a chance that I can win, and everyone else should as well, because it's not them college boys. Brendan Osborne, he's been on a roll. He's been doing really good at Shasta,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with them. I mean, they're good, but it's all about paying your dues too. We can all be right there as well, and at some point, but you get older, you got kids and everything, so you just go
Mhm.
with the flow and be happy that you get to compete against them guys and not worry about too much else.
I mean, you've only been doing this for about 15 years, you said, and
Mhm.
you are fishing on the Super 60, which is a very, very extreme level. There's a lot of guys that I think that are out there right now that are fishing the pro-ams that would love to be able to move up and fish that Super 60, fish at that level, fishing for $50,000, fishing for the prestige, the honor of
Mhm.
being at that level. And it's going to keep getting better and better. And I don't, like you said, Mark isn't looking to change anything. I don't think in any weird way. I think
No.
everything he's doing is trying to go positive and trying to get you
Yeah.
guys out there. And I think the opportunities that you have to become a big name out here, part of it is on Mark to grow his business enough that you guys can piggyback off that and make your name off of what he's going what he's going to make out of his business.
Yeah.
How we're gonna keep growing it, how it's gonna keep getting up there, being up there, showing off. I really wish, and I still hope, and I hope everybody that listens to this really comes out and watches it. I'd love to see
Yeah.
more people. I would. My goal is to be up on that stage in front of 10,000 people at every one of these events.
Sure.
Will we get there? I don't know, but I'd sure like to see at least 100 or 500 or 600 showing up to these events for weigh-ins on Sundays. It'd be great. I'd love to see that, the enthusiasm, and that's for you guys, and to be up there and be able to entertain that and show it off to the entire world what the West Coast has to offer. Because you look at it, and I look back there and I see these guys are fishing these tournaments, and they're catching okay, but I mean the West just has some big fish, quality water all over the place. We're traveling to some amazing states, seeing some amazing fish caught. It's just impressive, and I think that's something that we need to really show off out here. What we can actually do, and what you guys can do is just it's absurd. Going to
Sure.
lakes like Almanor and catching monster smallmouth is ridiculous. Going up to the Columbia catching monster, those smallmouth are ridiculous up there. It's crazy what you guys are doing out there and how you're catching them, and it's just nothing but fun. So But Jason, this is the time of the show when, we've just talked for a little over about 50 minutes, and it is the time that I give you to tell everybody a little bit. They just heard what you had to say, what the kind of information. Tell them about who you are, who your sponsors are. Give some love to the people to get you up there fishing that tournament circuit. And, this is your time. So for the next 9 to 10 minutes, have at it, man. Tell us, everybody, a little bit about who you are.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, just born and raised in Montana. And like I say, I try, I guess me as an example of, I have 15 years of doing it. So, you definitely don't count yourself out ever as far as being able to get to a higher level. Like, you need to do it forever and ever, so to get up there, if you put your head down. I don't have a lot of years of tournament fishing, so hopefully that, if anyone was thinking about, can you do it, of course you can. Just put your head down and do it, and just, I guess, be persistent on everything you do. And, as far as, oh gosh, trying to think of where to lead off from that. I'm just thankful with Mark, how he has everything set up. There's nothing, like I say, more fun than what I have been doing with the BAM and meeting all the new guys or whatnot. But I definitely want to thank, Alpha Angler. I'm definitely biased. Boomer's a good friend of mine. He's my travel buddy, but I'm a hothead at times, redhead, and the only time I've messed up his rods is by my own little, uh, you know, anger management times on the boat. I mean, his rods are phenomenal. I have small little deals with GoPro and Yeti and other companies that I'm always thankful for. But main thing is my wife too. She sets me up more than anything. I mean, a lot of guys that travel with me, like, if it wasn't for her, I mean, she has my itinerary set up, my license, set up, and bags packed, and I get food ready, the cooler's full, and I'm ready to rock and roll. And there's, I guess, one big thing that's happened, in my life in the past is, I'm sure guys have, possibly seen my wife and stuff. And, there was a time where I was, laying in the ditch and wreck, hit black ice with a, truck, and she was ejected, and one of my good friends, and she's paralyzed. So, and if you've seen her, she's in a wheelchair, but, you know, uh, the hand of God was still there, and all of our lives were kind of changed, and it went from being something tragic, and our life is so good right now, and we're so blessed that always come up to my wife Annie, and she's a true inspiration, for me and a lot of people. And she's keeps me going, keeps, with her and my daughter, we're a great clique and unique. And you could be down on your lowest of lows, and something like that, but you pass through it, and you end up having the best life, I guess. So just no matter what, anything gives you, just keep your head up, keep Jesus in your heart, and everything everything comes out real well. So
All right, man. Well, great story. Great. You're a heck of an angler. Love watching you out there. Is there any way people can watch you? Can they tune in? Can they see your social media? How can they follow you and, keep Jason, out there and going?
yeah, I have an Instagram, Jason underscore. That's my one of my biggest faults is I don't have it's under Jason Crone. I mean, if you put in my last name Crone, I'm sure you'd find it. But my social media is not as powerful as it needs to be, and I need to work on that. But that's the main thing. Now I have an asphalt sealing business, JC Seal Coating, up here. I've been doing it for 36 years. I started when I was 12 years old, so have that dialed down pretty well. But that's mostly, you know, I've thought about turning, you know, doing a little bit more. I got some GoPros. I want to find the time. It's just really hard to get done with the tournament and stay off the asphalt versus you know, being able to create a video. But I'm thinking about it, trying to do it. I just got to find the time. So
Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
So
that's you know, people are going to watch you when you know, you're, like you said, you've got a job, and unfortunately it's not like, you know, bass fishing is a career yet, or in the future possibly, but it's got to keep going a little bit. So getting that social media game going, it'll come. It's a lot of
oh yeah.
work. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work though to keep
Yeah.
adding it. So I
Yeah.
get that part. But yeah,
Yeah.
everybody out there, you know what? Go over, check out his Instagram, give him a follow on there. Stay in touch with Jason. I mean, he just came out here. We always talk about this. You know, if you didn't get anything out of this show, go back and listen again, because you know what? This guy just dropped a bunch of information. It's going to be down at Havasu here in the next couple weeks. We'll be back down there. Are you going out to the Classic at all? You can go check out the Bassmaster Classic?
No, I won't be. I want to one time, but no, I won't be making that. You know, you know, fortunately, I work for 6 months being in Montana, and then I have 6 months off. And with this weather, I'm already getting pretty lined up and having to be around. So, nope, I won't be at the Classic, but I'll definitely be watching it for sure. So,
All right. Well, I'll wave. I'll be there.
yeah. Oh, that's
So,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
jealous.
we get to go
Yeah.
down and check it out, and
Yeah.
yeah, and be a part of that. So it'll be fun to see. I'm hoping one day that the West Coast has something a lot like that,
Yeah.
something that big and something that bold,
Yep.
so you guys can really be, you know, showcased. That'd be great to see. But yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. This was a great show. Good to learn from. We'll see you from Havasu here in a couple weeks. And Jason, thanks for coming on and doing this. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Anytime. I appreciate the call, and yeah, let's root for Bryant. You know, this is
No, I'm rooting for Okerman at this point. Now that you know, you got him a little bit
yeah.
on that one.
Well, I mean, for the Classic, anyhow. Yeah,
That's all right. I'm still rooting for Okerman. No, I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
No. He's an Idaho boy.
You said it was easy.
Yeah, he's Idaho. He's no good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll be back there with those, and that'll be fun. So, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And you know what? We'll see you in a couple weeks with another great angler. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.